Hello, Spiffers. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. It's fun to be here for the 5-minute tip of the week. My name is Jamie Woodhouse, the CEO of SaaS Educators, and excited to work with you. I haven't recapped kind of where I come from in a bit. So if you haven't seen the very beginning videos of this YouTube channel, I thought I'd do a little refresher. I am a Spiff trainer and worked at Spiff before it was acquired by Salesforce, and worked with customers to teach them how to use Spiff and how to create their plans and payout rules and commissions and design their statements and do all kinds of things like that. And it was a lot of fun. We got bought out. Spiff got purchased or acquired by Salesforce. And at that time, I helped train everybody at Salesforce, all the Salesforce partners, Salesforce employees, and taught them how to use Spiff and how to get it working as we were a new company that was acquired by Salesforce. So had a lot of fun with that, doing some things on my own now. I'm no longer full-time with Salesforce, but love doing these trainings. I loved doing what we were doing with our classes that we were working with customers on. And those were discontinued once we got acquired by Salesforce. So I started up SaaS Educators to continue this training and added this YouTube channel with the 5-minute tip of the week. So hopefully it's been good. It's been a lot of fun for me. I've really appreciated all the interaction and everybody's interest and feedback. So continue to look at these videos and continue to share them with any of your other Spiff compatriots. All right. Today we're going to switch things up a little bit, and we're kind of starting a new group session, I guess you can say, to where I thought it would be a lot of fun to kind of walk through a scenario of using a what if pay rule. What is a what if payout rule, and how do we actually create it from scratch, from start to finish? And so I thought it would be fun to do a multi-video session where we go with what if payout rule is and how to design it and build it and kind of go through all the steps. So let's get started. All right, first thing is, what is a what if payout rule? A what if payout rule is used to show potential or hypothetical commissions. So think about it being a future looking, future grasping, letting your reps know, all right, here's some deals that are close to being closed, but they're not quite closed. If you close them, this is what your commissions are going to be. So we're looking at kind of future opportunities or deals that are close to closing. The nice thing about adding these to the Spiff system and to our Spiff statement is that they're not going to be counted towards the total commission on the rep statements. It'll actually show that. We'll get that when we actually go to the statement. So you can see kind of how it shows these what if payout rules, so that it's not, they don't have to do any math. They don't have to get confused at what commissions they're actually receiving, because these will not be included in the commissions they receive. And it's a fantastic way to motivate your sales reps, so that they can have at their fingertips and understand, all right, if I close this deal, what commission am I going to get? If it's getting close to the end of the month or end of the quarter, and they're trying to look at the low-hanging fruit to close as many big deals as they can, so that they can increase their commissions, as well as kind of look and see how close they're getting to their quota. This is a great way to be able to help motivate them. So here's the steps on how we start designing a what if statement. And actually, this really works for any kind of new commission payout rule that you're wanting to do, but we're just going to use the what if as an example. The first question you want to ask yourself, or the first step that you want to do, is actually define the population from Salesforce or from an uploaded spreadsheet or really any other source if you're using Workato or something to gather data from somewhere else. Define the population. What deals are the ones that are potential to close, that they will get a commission once they close, and try and define that and understand how to create that population or hone in on that population in Spiff. Second question you want to ask yourself is, does this connect to an existing plan or does a new plan need to be created? So once you have the population defined, then it comes down to, okay, do I have a plan already in Spiff, or do I need a new plan to be created with new individuals, or is this going to an existing plan? Third thing that we ask ourselves is, okay, once we have the plan defined, then in that plan, is there an existing payout rule that already has all the closed opportunities or deals that they're already getting commissions for, and we just need to create a what if kind of on the front end of this, so that they can see if they close these, it'll roll into this new one? Or do we need to define a brand new payout rule logic? Are we using totally different logic for this what if statement, or what if payout rule, and there's no existing logic that we can borrow? And the fourth and final thing that you do when you are doing the design is finishing and just making sure that we finish with the rep statement design in mind. Now, there's not a lot of questions you have to ask yourself about the rep statement design. It's just I added this because once we actually create and complete steps 1, 2, 3, then we need to not forget to tell the right story with the rep statement. All right. So we're not going to have time in our 5-minute tip of the week today to actually start these, but or at least start building these within Spiff. But I thought we'd kind of go through the exercise of doing steps 1, 2, and 3 together so that you can kind of understand which direction we're going to be going to in the upcoming tips of the week. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to look at our population. You might already have the population in your mind, and so that you can kind of define it out. But I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Spiff just to kind of show you exactly where to get started. The first thing that we want to ask ourselves when we're doing our population is, what object are we going to be pulling these deals or opportunities from? Typically in Salesforce, I just switched over to Spiff. Usually it's in the opportunities object. That's typically where we're pulling all of our data from, because these are the deals that are going to be closed. So the way that we can actually view this data within Spiff is in Designer. I always like right-clicking on this and opening it in a new tab, just because I like having both of these open and accessible at the same time. I have multiple screens when I'm not doing these videos. I like having one on each screen so I can jump back and forth between the two of them. And what we want to do is we want to actually go to data to kind of understand our data and our population. So if we go to data and then we click over on filters, the filters is where we actually define the population that we're going to use. And when I click on filters, it will show me the different objects I already have syncing in to my Spiff system, my Salesforce Spiff system. So I need to ask myself, okay, which object am I going to be pulling the data from? So this is going to be all the closed opportunities. So I'm going to go ahead and click on opportunities. This is going to bring up all of my existing data filters, but I'm not going to worry about those. We might borrow some existing ones, But I really just want to click on the opportunity so I can see all this data that's coming through. And so that I can kind of start defining how I'm going to take care of this population. All right, so I know I'm pulling from the opportunity object. I want to focus on the deals that are not closed and not won. That's fairly typical within Salesforce jargon. And so I got to make sure that I've got the fields syncing over where I have my is won and my is closed. And so I'm going to want to make sure that both of those are going to be false when I actually set these up. Again, we're not doing this right now. I'm just designing it and kind of walking through the design and kind of how it goes in my brain when I start creating these from scratch. So got the data. I kind of know what trigger I need to do for those. So, all right, I'm feeling good with that. The other population is I want it to be specific to each rep. And so I need a way to be able to specify which rep is, who is who. And the way that I do that with the data that I'm syncing here is through this owner ID. I've actually got the unique identifier of all of my reps, and the way that they get commission or potential commission counted is if they're the owner of the opportunity. And that's what this owner ID is. All right, so there's going to be a way that I'm going to have to figure out how to connect this unique identifier of the owners to the reps, but we've got the data, so I'm feeling good about that. The last two that I'm going to ask myself about is, all right, how do I define what is a potentially close to closing opportunity versus what's already closed? So in Salesforce, there's a stage name that's fairly typical that people use to understand the data that they're going to look at. And so I have all of these different stage names. Now I don't want, closed ones are the ones that we're paying commissions on. So we definitely want to exclude those, but do I want to include everything else, or are some going to be so early that it's just going to give us too much data and too much information? Because we do want to give the reps some specific information of what has the highest potential to close, so they don't have to dig through a lot of data in order to, understand, ooh, this one's close to close. I should follow up with them and see if I can get that deal closed this month or this quarter. So what we're going to focus on in ours, we're going to focus on all the verbal commits. And then I may or may not include evaluations. We'll kind of see once we start building this out of what population I really want to focus on and how much is too much versus what's going to motivate them. So those are kind of the two that I'm thinking of: verbal commit and evaluation. And then finally, I have close dates. Do I want to include close dates on this? Just depending on how you handle close dates within your system. In my test data that I've got, every single deal, as soon as it gets entered into the opportunity in Salesforce, has a close date. We kind of give a thought towards, all right, what date are we thinking, or what are we shooting for to actually close this deal? And so again, I'm going to have to play around with this population when we actually build it to see if I want to only look at maybe close dates within the next 3 months, or if I want to open it up to everything, just depending on how much is coming through. So those are kind of the questions and definitions that we're creating for this what if example. Next thing we want to look at is we want to look at the plan. Do I have an existing plan, or do I need to create a new one? And this really comes down to the reps who are getting these potential commissions. So if I go to plans back in Designer, I have a plan that we've been using with our videos called the YouTube example plan. This is exactly where I want it. Ava and Chloe are the only two that I'm going to be working with this potential commission on. And so we're good. We're going to use the YouTube example plan. So we don't need to create a brand new plan. If we needed to create a new plan because we didn't have an existing plan that included all the reps that we wanted to build this what if payout rule for, then we could build out a new plan. And then finally, for the payout rule, we kind of ask ourselves, are we going to see some existing logic? Notice that all of these have color to it. That's how I know that these are existing commissions that are getting paid out on a regular basis. If I change this to a what if, it would gray it out. And so you can kind of tell which ones are active versus which are the hypotheticals. So I can go ahead and just click through these to see what I want to do, and if there's an existing one that already creates that, that might give me a better idea of what to actually. If I've already got existing logic, it might be easier to use some of that existing logic when we're creating the what if, and we're just including a different population. But in this case, for the sake of time. Really, this is the only one that kind of has some complexity to it that we've been using, where we've got the ARR times a certain percentage of commission. I actually want to do it differently with this plan, where I've got an if statement where I'm going to actually do a couple of different percentages based off of the amount of ARR that's closed. And so I don't have that currently in the YouTube example plan. And so I'm going to be creating something brand new with that. All right. So that's kind of what we ask ourselves. Is the commission logic different than an existing one? If it is, then we'll create a brand new payout rule. And that's what we're going to do in this case. I'm actually going to walk through how we build the payout rule for the what if, giving us the potential, as well as we'll create a second payout rule afterwards to do the actual commission itself, so we can kind of see the data rolling in and out of it. All right. So hopefully that gives you an idea of kind of where we're headed with these examples, and there I am, and how this is going to work. So I just like making sure that I've got the design straight in my head or on paper first before I actually start building, because it helps me kind of follow the steps that I need to do and make sure that I'm doing it all correctly. So excited to start building next week. All right. Make sure you go to SaaSeducators.com. We are in the beginning and almost in the middle of our spring season, where I actually come out and teach these 2-day boot camps where you actually get a hands-on environment that you can build from and build on and play with, that doesn't mess around with your production environment. It's similar to the one that I'm building on now. And we'll build together, and we'll add a lot more complexity. I kind of stay right on the edge of not getting it too complex in these with rate tables and things like that. I can't do those types of builds in 5-minute tips of the week. So come and join me, or I'm coming to San Francisco and New York and Chicago, as well as Lehi, Utah, where I'm from, this spring. So come and join me, and we'll get into some more detailed topics. And instead of waiting each week to learn, in 2 days, you'll be an expert in everything Spiff, and you'll be good to go. We're doing early bird discounts right now if you register for a class that's still within the early bird period. So go to SaaSeducators.com right now and register. Seats are filling up. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next week.